Welcome back to the Bailey Work channel. In this video I'll be showing you how I installed the floor and wall tiles as I remodeled a bathroom in an old Irish manor house. So I'm down here in my old tile and paint storage area. What better place to talk to you about tile and paint? The floor tiles are usually a much harder material than the wall tiles, in this case porcelain. It's very hard to cut, which also makes it very hard to break apart and remove, which we found out in the demolition stage of the job. These tiles are 450 millimeters square, which is about 18 inches square. And you can see each tile is broken into 4 segments with little grout lines in between, here and here. So when installing the tiles, you want your grout lines between each full tile to be the same width as these small grout lines on the tile, which in this case is about 2 millimeters. The tile adhesive I've used for the floor is a rapid set flexible wall and floor tile adhesive. As I said, it's rapid setting, and you should be able to walk on it in about 3 hours time, which is good, because my plan is, once I've figured out the layout of my tiles, I'll strike 2 chalk lines perpendicular to each other and start laying my floor tiles from the center of the floor out. Now it's time to talk about trowels. You can see the notches on these trowels are completely different sizes. With the floor tile you want a really big notch because the adhesive is much grittier and you want your tile to just settle down into it nicely. This particular notch size is about 5/8 of an inch or 15 millimeters.
Yeah, all they do is... No, that's what I don't like is when they... Yeah, and then it squishes up, gets in the way of the grout. Thing of beauty, and a joy to behold.
The tricky business.
So, making good headway here, thanks to Michael Bailey, my father, who's the best tile cutter in the world.
At the end of the day, I've got the tile laid to this point, to the small bathroom. Drywall's all done. So on Monday, we can start wall tile.
The smaller subway tiles are 100 by 200 millimeters. That's about 4 inches by 8 inches. They're a much softer material, which is good because you have to do a lot of cutting when you're laying them brick style like this, and you end up with a lot of half tiles. Installing these tiles on the wall, I don't use spacers. I put them right up against each other. The edge of each tile is slightly rounded, so when you finish grouting, you end up with what looks like about a 2 millimeter grout line. I used chrome-colored tile trims, 8 millimeters, which is the smallest you can get. These subway tiles are quite narrow on the edges, so once you have the thickness of the adhesive behind them and the tile, it comes out about right. The tile trims are fixed to the wall with an adhesive called Tech 7. The adhesive for the wall tiles is made by Evo Stick. It's a Pro Grip professional ceramic tile adhesive. It's really easy to use and gives you plenty of working time. With the wall tiles you want a much smaller notch. This is about 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch. The adhesive is much smoother and easier to trowel on. These pieces of plywood, like the one you see here, act as a straight edge, so I can set the second course of tiles perfectly around the room or any horizontal surface, such as this chase around the toilet plumbing or around the bath, as you'll see later. Then when I've removed the plywood straight edge, I can add in my first course of tiles, using shims to hold them in place. And any variance in the floor, which is minuscule, will be covered by a nice bead of silicone where the floor tile meets the wall tile. I didn't want to mess with these pipes that protrude out of the wall for the radiator, so I made a hole in the tile for the pipe, cut the tile on the center line of that hole, and then when I pushed it together you could barely tell that there was a crack at all. As I said earlier, the tiles are really soft, so really easy to cut with a grinder if you need to. Most of the cutting, of course, is done on a tile cutter where you score the surface and then snap the tile along that line. My DeWalt laser level made it really simple to install these plywood straight edges perfectly. As with any building work, if you don't start with a good foundation, everything above that is going to get worse and worse as the job goes. So it really is important to get the first row of tiles perfect, so that when you get to the top 14 tiles later, you still have a nice straight line. Ideally, when you're installing wall tiles, you apply the adhesive to the wall, and you can cover much larger areas this way with your trowel. But as I was trying to install the tile trims as I went, it was easier with the top course of tiles to add the adhesive to the back of the tile. And then there's the paint. The doors and the trim are white, a latex water-based semi-gloss paint. Over here in Ireland we call it vinyl soft sheen. The walls are also a vinyl soft sheen in a nice deep dark green color. You can see the first coat of the dark green paint going on here. In some places it took 3 coats to cover the white properly. The tile is all installed, ready for grouting, which is the focus of the next video. Thank you so much for watching.